science fiction author, Captain W.E. Johns, much more famous for his Biggles books. I can promise you that these are even better than Biggles. Well, in a certain kind of light, this is The Quest for the Perfect Planet by Captain W.E. Johns. Chapter 6. Pigs and plums. It's set in outer space, by the way. It is not to be supposed that it was only necessary for the Tavona, that's the ship they're on, by the way, to proceed to a planet, any planet, for the occupants to land and stroll about. Far from it. The atmospheric conditions, both in composition and pressure, were often so far removed from what was necessary to support normal life that even if the ship didn't touch down, the doors were not opened. Tests having shown conditions were so unsuitable, according to their own standards, that further investigation would achieve no useful purpose. Sometimes, there was little or no air at all. Or if there was, it could consist of a gas, such as carbon dioxide, which made the place useless for their purpose, which was, of course, to find a world with conditions at least approximating that of the Earth. For all those who aren't aware, yes, carbon dioxide is a gas, and it is actually present in Earth's atmosphere. This did not necessarily mean that if there was no life of any sort on such a planet, sometimes the movement of what were obviously living creatures could be seen. Creatures which had presumably developed in that particular environment, thus providing the professor's argument that life in some form could occur in any conditions. On such occasions, further investigations could have been carried out by wearing spacesuits, which were always carried for emergencies. But no one was inclined to suffer slight
how much did you say?
50 feet.
30 feet, carry on.
Oh, another 20 feet to stop.
So we got 40 feet to stop, 30 to carry on. If somebody could count with me,
I'm useless at maths.
because I'm not a maths person, even though I work for England Revenue, it makes sense, doesn't it?
50 feet, carry on.
Guilty 50p, I can count that far.
But as no one was inclined to suffer slight discomfort, this equipment would impose, for no useful purpose, no time was wasted on it. Then again, there were planets so enormous that gravity, always proportionate, would have made walking impossible. In comparative terms, their bodies would have weighed a ton or more. On the other hand, some planetoids were so small that movement would have been dangerous. So walking about when you weigh a ton isn't. With muscles adapted to the gravity of Earth, any great reduction would allow them to take tremendous strides or jump considerable distances and risk injury on landing. Yet again, this is not the third time, there were planets which by their very formation made them useless for occupation, as could be observed without even landing. And not uncommon feeling was a superabundance of water.
50 feet to stop.
60 pence to carry on.
50 feet to stop then.
So this stops Avid at the moment with a pound.
Pound 60 feet.
A pound to 60 feet.
Not 50 feet, carry on.
110 to carry on, a pound to stop. No, well, I think the
Another
masochist...
11p to stop.
How do you feel that strong?
No, sit on the 60 to carry on.
They're masochists, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Where were we?
To carry on.
Yes, a not uncommon feeling was a superabundance of water, which could cover so much of the land
Right.
that the world was one of
Very.
small islands, often far removed from one another. There were
Are you
others
paying
on which
script,
there
did
could be no water at all. the entire terrain consisting of nothing but rock. On one of these, a planet about the size of the Earth, they did make a brief landing. It was a place of towering cliffs and mountains, and at first a safe landing appeared to be impossible. But, observing a small plateau, which was in fact a giant mountain with a flattened peak, I'm sorry, I'm not confused. They went down for no other reason than to satisfy the professor's curiosity. The spectacle presented of mighty mountains rising on all sides to the horizon was breathtaking, and as far as Rex is concerned, frightening. There was no snow, as such would have occurred on mountains on Earth, which suggested a complete absence of moisture in the atmosphere.
Oh, this is really
Okay, 50 feet to stop, obviously nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, I was just thinking, oh,
Don't use that one to read.
this is ridiculous. Steve, give me some useful. A pound to stop. This is getting really wild.
Do we want to wind Barry up right now?
Oh, come on. No.
You see, I have a book here that Gary won't want me to even open, because it's by his most favourite author in the world, Guyan Smith.
How much for the book?
Yeah, you can't afford it.
So who had the 50p to stop? Right, and I'm going to put a pound in when there's enough change.
Now, is anyone going to give me some money to read the back blurb?
I'll give you a pound
That's
to
worth
read the
10
back blurb if it's that bad.
I'll give you £2 not to read it.
How many people want to read it?
So we've got a pound 42 to read the blurb at the back. We need 50p, we need 60 more p.
Another pound to read it.
Okay. Yes. Right.
Come prepared.
It smelled of the
Hey,
dead.
Norman. Give us
Stop.
a quid.
Stop. The creature oozed a rancid jelly from its scaly skin, leaving a trail of sticky mucus to congeal with the blood of its victims.
That it?
The slime beast, as the innocent villagers had named it, was a monstrosity straight from hell's womb, and it fed on human flesh. Stinking like the putrid bowels of a mass grave.
Oh, £2, just to stop it right there.
£3, carry on.
Bastard.
Graves, backwards.
You can't arms, you Ed.
I think we got 3-3 at the moment. Have we? Who bid to stop? I got lost here when I was counting money.
I'll put £2 to stop.
£2 to stop, £4 to stop at the moment, and £3 to carry on.
The people did pay
What?
the entire blurb to be read.
We've got
Too
4
late to change your
to
mind,
4 at the
I'm afraid.
moment.
And there's another pound to
We
carry on.
have
That's pound to
undecided.
4 to carry on.
We got £5
Another paragraph now.
to carry on, £4 to stop at the moment.
I'm going to carry on.
3, 2, 1, carry on, give us a
But
cash.
I'll start at the start of that
Oh
paragraph.
jeez, I'm going to have to count on that.
Stinking like
Who
the
else wants to
putrid
carry on?
bowels of a mass grave,
Who else wanted to
the
carry on?
beast stalked the once peaceful streets of Sutton by night. Sorry, the beast stalked the once peaceful streets of Sutton by night, spreading death and destruction in its wake. Nothing, not even the army's armor-piercing bullets, could halt its bloody rampage as it gorged on human meat. But Liz Beck and Gavin Royal,
No, just say
visiting the Wash in search of the legendary treasure of King John, knew that the slime beast feared one thing only, and they were determined to see the gluttonous ghoul burn in hell. Now, is that really bad or what?
It's nice since it doesn't give away anything.
Plot? Plot? What is this plot of which you speak?
Yeah.
Only pound there's this beast that goes around eating people, and the hero and heroine, when they're not busy bombing, kill it. That's it.
Oh, okay.
I've got enough pound for you.
Not you?
Yeah, no, there's definitely bonking in here.
How did you read some of that then?
£2. £2 not to.
Pound to read the bonking.
Well, I just given a pound to and plot given away. It was very accurately being succinctly given away, I think. Thank you very much.
A donation from Richard. Okay, so where's the pound for the bonking then?
Oh, no, Barry had
£2 not to read the bonking.
Yes, but it's bonking!
Well, then you have to pay something.
Yeah, but it's Guy and Smith.
bonking.
You want to really hear about Guy and Smith?
For no
£2 not to read it, £1 to read it, as far as I gather. If I'm wrong, please do correct me, guys. I know. From experience, I know.
Extra pound 50 £2.50 to bonk.
To bonk.
£3, no bonking.
I'll have another pound.
There you go.
Four again?
So no.
£4.50 no bonking.
Oh, now you're talking.
£4.50, no bonking. Okay. And £3.50 for bonking. So these people do not want to bonk, so
No bonking.
no bonking.
Oh, well.
Right, give us your money for no bonking then.
I'll read what the other bits then. It doesn't
Oh, Norman.
That's not really bonking.
Oh, sorry. You did that on purpose, didn't you? No bonking. No bonking. Okay.
Pound not to start.
Only a pound not to start this masterpiece, this classic, this piece of
Tripe.
Bill. £2 to read it anyway.
£2 to read.
I add another pound to the pounds to read. I want you to suffer.
We demand a lot of suffering.
Go on, give us your 2 clicks on. I'll put another way.
Blast the shadow! Tom Southgate knew that somebody was in the far corner. He could hear him breathing. Loud, rasping like the thief had been running. Maybe it was fear, though. Fear of being caught. The landlord cocked both hammers loudly. I think he's got his gun, actually. Come on! He snarled again. Let's have you. I hadn't all night to stand about here. Something moved, paused, then moved again. Then he saw it as the first moonbeams glinted on green, slimy scales. The slime beast! Southgate fired at point-blank range, a yard, no more. Both barrels, straight into its face. Acrid, choking smoke. He coughed and closed his eyes for a second. Nothing could live after that double charge. He'd done what the army had failed to do. He'd be a hero. He'd be... 2 webbed fingers were thrust into his open mouth. The sharp claws lacerated his tongue and he choked on his own blood. The beast had a grip on his cheek. It pulled. Half his face came away effortlessly. I haven't even finished the entire page. I mean, they did pay, what, £3? At least a page.
Shut up. Tell us when you're reaching over the page, please.
It pulled. Half his face came away effortlessly, leaving distorted bones streaming with blood. He could not see. His eyes were being gouged. Sharp incisions were made to get behind them, torn from their sockets. These sharp incisions were... Never mind. That's the end of the
Help me,
page.
frog, help.
I want to know how much your face usually makes you go away from the line.
He prayed for the first time in his life, for death. It came with the slashing of the jugular vein, spouting blood, turning his tattered scales scarlet.
Another 50p stop.
You won't manage that 50p to stop.
Well, there's some boobies here.
Oh no, not more boobies.
I'm sorry, look, bonkers, not
We have 50p to stop at the moment, guys.
Pound to stop.
A pound to stop.
No one's here to mention the boobies in?
No boobies?
You've got £1.50 to carry on.
£1.50 to carry on. So we have £1.50 to carry on against £1 to stop.
Oh, £2 to stop.
That's £3 to stop, £1.50 to carry on.
Big boobies.
Guy in Smith is just a boob.
Right.
Huge.
3,
Oh,
Two.
£1 for the carry-ons and the boobies.
so that's £2.50 to carry on and £3 to stop.
I'll put the pack to carry on.
£3.50.
Clearly visible boobies.
Okay, we've got £3.50 to carry on and £3 to stop. I think we have some boobies fans here. 3, 2,
Bugger.
1. Carry on. Give us your money.
Tom! Tom! Sorry, that's Spirit. What's she doing in this book? She's a nice educated girl. Are you alright? The slime beast turned its head. It saw the woman standing at the top of the stairs. The bulbous breasts were clearly visible through the semi-transparent night dress. I didn't say particularly graphic description of boobies, I just said they were big boobies. That's it. Bulbous. Bulbous. Bulbous boobies.
Does that mean the sprouting spring?
It watched her collapse and keel over down the narrow steps, lying with her head towards him, breasts now fully exposed. The slurping tenderness was there for the taking. It turned. Something altered it. Instinct calling from deep within, compelling a minute brain to obey, to flee back to the mud. Safety.
He's scared of the babies.
Yeah, well, you know. It obeyed unquestioningly. Maybe it's afraid of something like. The moonlit square above it pointed the way. Minutes later, standing on the tarmac of the deserted car park, the sound of voices reached it from afar. The easy route back to the sea was blocked. What did it matter? It had no sense of time. I think for an urgency It set off at a lumbering, shambling gait.
What?
Gate. G-A-I-T, not a lumbering, shambling.
There's
The
nothing
number of shambling gates it's after.
Yes. The seawall was visible a mile or so to its right across the stubble fields. Safety.
If they decide to stop,
Right, anybody else to stop?
if you need to stop.
£1 to stop.
And another pound to stop.
£3 to stop.
I'll add another quid to that to stop.
£3 to stop. No opposition at the moment.
Right, this is to prove that in fact even good authors write really bad books. Marion Zimmer Bradley.
Marion.
Oh, Barry, sorry.
This is Marion Zimmer Bradley.
Who?
You said good authors.
Bunch of
Philistines.
thank you.
Yeah.
Handy to preserve your illusion.
So who is this exemplar of an author that you...
Marion Zimmer Bradley. For the last time, it's still Marion Zimmer Bradley.
Yeah, but we've never heard of her.
What?
We are Philistines.
Bloody hell.
You never even run into the Bradley ever. You
Mr.
lucky bastard!
The Mr. Babylon.
Wrote the Darkover books.
Yeah, and the Mr. Babylon.
Who?
Mr. Babylon?
Mr. Babylon.
Never heard of it. Can't be very good.
Yep. Anyway.
Do you want to hear the back blurb? Which I assure you is in fact the best part of the book.
I'll give you 50p for the back blurb.
The brass dragon, Marion Zimmer Bradley. Drellin went down under me, crying out. I kicked, and it must have hurt because it gave a yell of rage. No, a roar, an inhuman screeching howl. It squirmed, reared up to a crouch, and it changed. Flesh seemed to flow like water. The crouched form hunched, rippled into a greyish, wrinkled, clawed mass where a man form had stood. A dragon roared in. Barry learns how he's been captured by an alien race and hunted down by the Dickery, the shape changers, whose dragon-like appearance terrifies everyone who sees it.
Ah.
Do you want to hear more of this wonderful story?
Oh, yes.
Oh, we paid 50p anyway.
Well, that was the blurb.
Yeah.
That was the blurb. That was
40p to
the
read some book. 50p not to.
Another 50p to read it.
It's 90 against 50. Right, let's have your 90p. Come on, let's get some reading done here. Oh, jeez.
I was lying on the floor of some smooth stuff. But my head was on a pillow, and my shoes had been hauled off, and my feet were warm. But he was not wearing a hat.
Good God.
We were inside a little dimly lit circular building. Carsten lay in a low bed, covered with a Dickery cloak. Varsel slumbered on the floor at his side. I hauled myself upright, looking down at my feet. They were warm and though dirty and blackened in spots. None of the toes seemed seriously damaged. Varsel opened his eyes and looked at me. Well, it would be difficult to do it. I said, "How's Carsten? And what's within him?" In that order. And after that, where are we? It's an amazing conversation.
That's is that?
A bit one-sided, isn't it?
We are in one of the Dickery shelters, Varsel said. It is deserted and possibly forgotten, so there is no need to be worried about them. Carsten is better. I have looked at his shoulder and it is healing. As for food, I don't know. We must look around. We started hunting in various cupboards and built-in storage spots right then. We found a few empty packages and half a dozen full ones. The stuff inside could have been soap or silver polish for all I knew. But Varsel said it was a special emergency ration, made unpalatable on purpose.
What?
What?
Made unpalatable, that means it's not very tasty.
It's a bit red.
On purpose so that people would eat the bare minimum for survival.
What?
Dwarf bread.
Dwarf bread.
Yes.
British real sandwiches.
Yeah.
I suppose it was better than nothing.
Before or after?
Yeah.
Varsel still seemed troubled, and I asked if Carsten was really so bad. No, but the wind has died down.
What?
It's better than the MREs.
No, he said, but the wind has died down. Wonderful, I said. Beautiful, we can get along fine without it. You don't understand. This means we are in the eye of a sand hurricane. Winter is closing in. And in winter there are sand blizzards in which nothing can live. If the winter season closes in before we can get away from here, he didn't finish. And I knew he had been planning some fun restaurant. There were two doors to the building. The one we come in by. Now closed tightly against the outdoors, and another.
Gas.
Varsel pushed against it. It was locked and handleless, with only a round hole in the center, like a keyhole. He hesitated a moment, then took out of his pocket the small brass dragon-shaped thing he had removed from the body of the Dickery. It slid easily into the hole. He twisted, and the door opened. Stairs led downwards. Slowly and cautiously.
Stop.
Another pound to stop.
I've had a pound to carry on. I
Gosh,
wonder where the stairs lead to.
Right, we've got £1.50 to stop and £1 to carry on. Oh God.
There's no cookies in this, by the way.
£3 to stop, £2 to carry on.
Oh, I'll have a quid to carry on.
Where's the stop?
£4 to stop. We had 3 to carry on, I think. Another £1 to carry on.
And another to carry on.
5 to carry on, 4 to stop.
350 to stop.
Top it, yeah?
There's some silver in there as well.
Yeah, so
One 5p.
Right.
Quite a lot of 5p's.
So who's voted to stop at the moment? So Barry, that
no,
was
I voted to carry on.
Carry on.
We're coming to carry on group.
You wanted to stop. And the stops have it at the moment. I don't know for how much.
It was something like £3 stop, and then I put in 350. So.
Okay, 6.50 to stop and about 4 quid to carry on, I think.
Another 2 quid to carry on.
6 to carry on.
You're going to find something really exciting in this.
Right, we got 6 to.
don't believe.
I think we've got 6 to carry on and 6.50 to stop. Does that sound about right?
I just read the next paragraph.
I think at the moment, these
7 to carry on.
7 to carry on,
Good grief.
6.50 to stop. Oh, good grief.
Carry on's got it.
Carry on's got it.
The stairs led downwards. Slowly and cautiously, we went down. The stairs ended, and we came out into a sunken room. It was large and damp. Damp! On dry, waterless Mars. But unmistakably, water was trickling from the stone walls. This was evidently an underground cave. An underground. Remember they went down the stairs? Cave, underground cave. Underground cave. Many caves, as opposed to an open air cave.
Yes.
Or
It's one of those sellers from Ohio, isn't it?
yeah. I've met some strange people from Ohio.
The old dope
I breathed more freely. The room was so dark and shadowy that at first I did not notice the great humped mound in the centre. Until Varso laid his
He was
hand
doing the
on my
humping on the
arm
man.
and pointed. It was a flying saucer. It wasn't parcels.
You mean you paid 5 quid to hear this?
It was larger,
Take 7 quid to hear this.
painted a drab grey, with curious striations, which I suppose were some alien form of identification markings. It was clumsier, too. But it was a saucer, and we had the keys. We could get away from here. We wish. We were safe. We were saved. I saw myself back on Earth in a few more days, with only the memory of a great adventure. And I went, whoop, whoop. Don't rejoice too soon, Barzil said. This means this place is not forgotten. The Dickery owners may return to claim their property. Then the thing to do is get out of here in a hurry, I retorted. I was ready to climb on board right then. Barzil rebuked. It is not so simple. The wind is rising again, and a Martian sun blizzard can blow an interstellar ship out of the sky, let alone a small craft like this. But it's bigger than this. We are all still exhausted, and worst of all, I do not know how to operate a Dickery craft.
He's only got the keys, not got the instruction manual.
I suppose one saucer is very much like another. But I can never be sure. I will have to study the craft, perhaps for days, before I can safely take it out for even a short flight. Calm yourself, and let us go back. I might have been sore about what Barzil said, only it made too much sense. As we turned back, I noticed a pizza smell. What? Was I hallucinating again? What is that marvellous smell? Barzil looked round briefly. Then he hurried to the side of the shed, and there, in a soaking tank full of water, the smell emerged fuller and spicier than ever. Something that looked like a moss was half submerged in the red
Time to
water.
stop.
£1.50, carry on.
£2 to stop. It's £2 to stop, £1.50 to carry on.
Another pound carry on.
Oh God.
I had a quid to stop.
£3.50 to stop.
Story 4, Satellite of Peril. Look out, John! Vera Dorn screamed. John Carstairs, his head level with the drench man, jerked his blast rifle upwards and unleashed a screaming tornado of incandescent dust. Over the mound, a lethal barrage swirled, lifting a gigantic constrictor root into the air and searing it to a crisp. Almost simultaneously, Carstairs lunged sideward. There was a rustling murmur, and another constrictor had shot past, its teeth and jaws missing him by inches. Holy space! Sure. That's actually the same way.
No, we've not got that man yet. Come on, we've got out of this.
You got
Should
out
have thought of this earlier.
At least a page.
Holy space! He choked, and swung the rifle around so swiftly that sand spurted from the pivoting stock into his face. Swaying, gasping, his mouth choked with dust, he blasted down the second plant monster at nearly point-blank range and swung back to confront its lashing progeny. Whoa. I don't quite like this. Vera Dorn was down, struggling desperately to keep the glistening coils of a fledgling constrictor from tightening about her waist. Even though there are no boobies, there's a bit of...
John, keep your hands to yourself and stop.
Though the creature was no thicker than Carstairs' wrist, it was more than a match for a slim girl weighted down by desert slippers and a heavy oxygen mask. Horror engulfed Carstairs as his gaze swept over the vicious little ripcords that were converging upon Vera from all sides, their mottled, segmented bodies gleaming in the Jupiter light. The cold wind that blew down Carstairs' spine was partly subjective and partly natural blast on his clammy flesh as he tried to lift the blast rifle to the summit of the mountain. For an instant, an agony tore at his flesh. His face twitched with a jerk of tightening nerves and straining muscles. Then, the heavy weapon swiveled, lifted, and he was blasting down into the hollow where Vera lay. His big, bare shoulders studded with frozen sweat. Yes, they are, in fact, on one of Jupiter's moons. I just thought I'd let you know that.
He's not wearing any gloves.
You don't worry about stuff like that.
He's battling. 2 minutes later, the hollow was a blackened, smoke-rimmed depression on the arid central tundra of Io.
Just a divorce.
The fledgling constrictor mounds of inert ash, whipped by the wind. On both sides of Vera, a thin strip of uncharted desert stirred and rustled as Carstairs facing downwards. A terrible anxiety in his eyes. Well, he shouldn't have bloody blasted him from hell, should he? Rage against the blind and merciless forces which had shaped the plants of Io and made them utterly alive well within him. Vera was lying in a crumpled heap, her features twitching, her body a mass of writhing, counting coils.
50p to stop.
50 to stop. And a pound. So we got £2 each at the moment.
Another 50p to stop.
£2.50 to stop, £2 to carry on. 3 to carry on, £2.50 to stop. £4.50 to carry on.
455 with
Yes.
to stop having it.
Yeah.
£12 carry on.
Carry on, have it by 50p.
I'll another 50p to carry on because I want to get rid of this bloody change.
Go on then. 2 carry on.
Oh, where were we? Yes.
Coils.
Writhing, tightening
To
coils.
carry on.
White-lipped, Carstairs dropped to his knees beside
Okay.
her and tugged and wrenched at the surviving whipcord until it recoiled with a swish and nearly writhed up around him. Whipping out an automatic pistol. It is an automatic pistol. He hurled it 20 feet across the sand. And dispatched it with 3 staccato bursts. Presumably with his rifle at this point time his sister and gun. Smoke when Vera Dorn stirred, opened her eyes. Help me up, Joe, she moaned. Carstairs became suddenly aware that his back had turned to ice. Still supporting her with one arm, he drew his cumbersome tundra suit up over his shoulders and gave the segmented neck ring a twist. His oxygen mask had slipped. Leaving one nostril exposed to the harsh Ionian atmosphere. Hastily, he clamped it into place and lifted Vera up until her lips merged with his in a long, winking kiss. Yes, just put his oxygen
Design.
Oxygen masks touching. The curator of the Interplanetary Botanical Gardens, and his blue-stocking secretary embraced on the dry tundra of Jupiter's third largest moon, oblivious to the stir of wind and the vast coppery unblinking eye which filled the dome of the sky above him. That would be Jupiter. The fact that the constrictor roots of Io grew to maturity in drench mounds, guarded by adult whipcords 40 feet in length, no longer seemed important to John. Slender, auburn-haired girl in the arms. And yet, Carstairs had left a secure and congenial job on Earth and travelled across 500 million miles of space solely to study, photograph, and bring back alive the formidable perambulating plants of Io.
Not in relation to the wobbly by any chance.
Oh yes, wobblies are perambulating plants too. All these plants perambulate. Perambulating plants. Plants which perambulate. Fuck off!
50 plants, 50p to stop. 50 more.
Pound to carry on.
Fuck off!
You
Perambulating
get a
plants.
pound 50 to carry on at the moment, and then you get to pay to stop. Pound 50 to carry on and
It's never any set on Venus, which is sad because you could have
Go, carry on.
the sky.
What? Pound to stop, he says.
I'll give you another 5p to carry on, this is the only coin I've got left.
Another 50p to stop.
I've lost count. I've lost count. The carry-ons have it, but they're £2, that's for sure. Right. We carry on, come on, the masochists, come on. Carry on, carry on.
And bring back alive the formidable perambulating plants of Io.
I've got no coins left.
Good God.
Well, they did
That's my final bag.
For 6 long months now, constrictor roots, luminous crater whorls, and vampirish ebony black suction epiphytes had driven all but romance resent.
What?
Fickle man.
I'm not sure if I understood that either.
I didn't understand that either, that bit, no.
For 6 long months now, constrictor roots, luminous crater whorls, and vampirish ebony black suction epiphytes had driven all. Epiphytes are rootless plants, normally found in things like a rainforest. They're things that grow up trees.
Oh yeah,
and they
okay.
absorb.
Arboreal triffids.
Yeah.
I understand now.
Yeah. Good point.
Honestly, do I have to explain everything to you? There will be a quiz after. Luminous crater whorls and vampirish ebony black suction epiphytes had driven all thought of romance from his mind. A dedicated man.
Okay.
For 6 months now, he had been hearing the echo of Director Hammett's voice in his mind's ear. Storming, ranting, opposing him tooth and nail. Carstairs, you're the curator of the finest botanical exhibit in the solar system. Why should you want to go gallivanting off around Io in a tundra suit? If I were your age and had a secretary as charming as Miss Dorn, I'd count myself the luckiest man alive. Sorry, I'm trying to get right again. Carstairs could have blurted out.
Blue stockings desert boots.
Slippers.
Desert slippers.
Oh, sorry, and not ski masks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Carstairs could have blurted out, but I'm not a dying wool curator. I'm tremendously interested in scientific crime detection. And when I get fed up with my work at the gardens, I help Inspector Maguire swing into his stride. But now that... Find that woman 50p for having a very, very rude mind.
Tell his other models that he's a swinger, isn't he?
I help Inspector Maguire swing into his stride. But now that Inspector Maguire is off on a 6 months vacation, I've had a chance to do some exploring for specimens firsthand, and I want to go to Ireland. There's enough excitement out there to keep me keyed up. But of course, Carstairs had blurted out nothing of the sort. The directors of the Interplanetary Botanical Gardens were conservative men who did not suspect he was leaving at double.
A pound to stop.
We have a pound to stop at the moment.
Yeah, but you haven't heard the rest of the stuff. This is mine.
Do I want to hear the rest of the stuff? That is the question.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, because
Yes, you do.
£2 to carry on.
Oh,
It's my last two quid. £2 to carry on.
£2 to stop.
3 to stop,
Not
2
£2
to carry on.
Not £2.
4 to carry on, 3 to
You're waiting
stop.
for the discount if I
And another pound to carry on.
5 to carry on, 3 to stop.
£3
Okay, how's that line?
What was that?
£3 stop.
that's 5 to carry on.
5 to
6
carry
stop.
on,
Another pound.
another pound to carry on, and another pound to carry on. So it's an
This is the story with the
So
botanizing
it's
on the
7 to
vapor
carry
line.
on at the moment.
Botanizing on the vapor line.
Right? 8p to carry on. So we've got £7 and 8p to carry on.
Oh, it's quite a long story.
No, I don't think we have time for
There's
that.
about 15 pages, but it's a cracker.
Right, to carry on, guys.
Come on.
Give us your money.
Where were we?
I'm skinny now.
Oh yes, did not suspect he was leading a double life.
Heavy.
Marion.
Where were we? He was leading a double life. He had simply given them a scholarly sales talk, stressing the need for specialized knowledge in the Jupiter field, and wrenching a 6 months roving commission for him and his fiancée secretary and himself. Angrily now, she was stirring in his arms. John Carstairs, you can't see any further than your nose. We stumble on a nest of constrictor roots. The big ones call around the little ones. It's probably why they call them constrictor roots. And instead of taking photographs, you wade in with a blast rifle, pivoting and scattering them all over the landscape. We'd best be getting back to the ship, darling. Carstairs said dryly. Darling! Fury snapped. Of all the gold! I traveled in his arms once, and he thinks I'm caught in his orbit. I'm not your satellite, John Carstairs. Aren't
Not
you?
your what?
Satellite. I.e., one body which
Yeah.
orbits another body.
Okay.
There will be a quiz afterwards.
Yeah. Right.
Aren't you? I thought you were head over heels in love with me. Well, that was long ago, and on another planet. Out here, I couldn't go for a fixed star in a big way. So I'm a fixed star, am I? I'll say, wired. Bogged down in a rock for life. All you can see are fingerprint pearls and crime bureau statistics. The hoarfrost-covered bulk of the expedition ship seemed to swim towards them through the mist. Carstairs' mood was sober as he walked along with his precious burden. Vera felt stationary somehow, cradled in the tight embrace of a big star 6 feet tall, with tousled hair and broad, straight shoulders. Oh, and for those who don't know, he does also have a raging dog. The sandy soil shifted glisteningly beneath Carstairs' heavy shoes as he moved towards the airlock. Activated by a photoelectric beam, it swung open at his approach, revealing a yawning square of blackness rimmed on one side by a filmy white light. Carstairs gasped and stopped abruptly in his tracks. He knew that that light was abnormal, but for an instant, it hadn't stopped. Then, he perceived that something was flitting along the frosted hull of the ship, its glowing bulk casting a faint radiance ahead of it. Even as he stared at the thing blocked the port completely, hovered for an instant, luminous quiverings, and shot away into the murk. What was that? Vera gasped. A cradle world, darling. Take it easy now. Those babies look formidable when they're lighted up. But you saw what happened when I got chummy with the big one we captured on the mountain yesterday. All it did was cuddle. They entered the ship. The Silver Queen's navigator was lying so close to the inner lock that Carstairs stepped completely over him and went clumping down the port passageway without a backward glance. What you need is a sedative injection, darling, he said. You'll be feeling lots better tomorrow. He halted abruptly. The exposed portion of the girl's face seemed all wrenched apart. She appeared to be trying to tell me something, and all she could do was manage a little whimpering. Carstairs turned, his gaze sweeping the passageway. Ferguson! He choked. Vera found her voice. John, look at his eyes! She whispered, plucking Carstairs' sleeve. John, is he dead? Steady, darling, Carstairs soothed, easing her gently to the floor. We'll know in a minute.
No, stop!
Blue eyes.
If you need to stop, please. I don't want to know in a minute. I don't want to know at all.
Carry on.
Another pound to stop.
Another pound to carry on.
Another pound to stop.
Another pound to carry on.
Are you counting, Norman?
That's 3,250.
Okay.
3,250
Yes,
to carry
right.
on.
Oh, another £2 to stop.
3 to 450. That's all you got left, is it? Look here, I didn't mind. That's £1.90 more. Right, so that's £2.20 to carry on here. So that's carry-ons have it at the moment. I don't know how much.
It's 570 for the carry on.
Yeah,
Against 350.
that's right. Right, shall we carry on for the last time, guys? Because it is 25 minutes to, so we've got about 5 more minutes.
Blue eyes staring, coldly staring, his head thrown back. The Silver Queen's navigator was lying slumped at the base of the lock port, one white arm outflung. Carstairs knelt and touched his forefinger, a tiny pattern of scars on the unconscious man's forehead. Paralysis ray, he muttered. But he's going to be all right. He's coming out of it. As he spoke, he slapped Ferguson with such vigour that a welt appeared on the navigator's right cheek, and his head jerked sideways. Again, Carstairs slapped him. He knew that there was no time to waste if Ferguson was to be saved, for the ray jolted the brain like a charge of high explosives, and produced a trance which frequently proved fatal. Slowly, the colour crept back into Ferguson's face. He groaned, shuddered, and opened his eyes. Easy now, lad, Carstairs said. The Scotsman's eyes grew suddenly bright, piercing. Lad, is it? I need to forget that I'm nearly twice your age. The Jensen swung out of Carstairs' face. Thank God, he breathed. I'm afraid you'd wake up delirious. Delirious? Aye, delirious? I remember now, that rat rayed me. Before I could get a look at him, he rayed me down. I'm sorry, Ferguson's then turned into Christine Crow. And what? Easy, Ferguson, Carstairs warned. You're running a fever. And what would you be doing if you saw a two-legged rat hoisting our supplies out of the airlock? Carstairs' jaw accorded, and the colour drained from his face. Our supplies? Ferguson nodded. Aye, son. There are 10 or 12 vacuum crates stacked by the lock. Our food, ammunition, and oxygen refills are all gone with the wind. But we're the only people on the isle, Carstairs muttered. Ferguson raised himself on his elbow. Remember what you said yesterday, lad, about the plants? How it looked as though someone had been botanizing on the tundra of Norway. Tearing up those disc epiphytes by the roots. Now, can any of them remember what an epiphyte is?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it?
Growing up on the trees.
What are they? They are rootless plants. They are rootless plants, plants without roots.
Arboreal triffids.
Botanizing on the tundra of Norway. Tearing those disc epiphytes up by the roots.
Ah! Right.
Carstairs nodded grimly. Incredible as it was, somebody else was on this Jovian satellite with them. A dangerous maniac. Swiftly, the curator helped Ferguson to his feet and assisted him down the cold-lighted passageway to the lounge. He raced back to the airlock, gathered Vera up, and carried her to her room. He rolled up her right sleeve, administered a sedative attention, returned to his own quarters and spaces from his desk. He hastily set to work assembling a queer sort of pressure equipment and started spraying the entire interior of the ship with a fire. The far-off Earth night was no longer young when Vera Dawn woke. Her face felt cold, lumpish. She brushed back her coppery hair and felt around her forehead until she located the swellings. She was also not wearing a hat.
Could she see us all?
It was annoying that such swellings could exist in a world where insect life was unknown. But the ship was infested with Ionian perambulating plants a millimeter thick, vampirish little fungus blobs that cruised around on the human epidermis and unmercifully fed. A faint smile twisted Vera's lip, but it vanished almost at once. She sank and shut her eyes to blot out the crazy sight, but when she looked again, the intruder was still there, motionless. She moaned and forced herself to sit up. The man standing at the foot of her bed had not moved. She was sure of that. She was also sure that he was not Carstairs. He was shorter, heavier, and he was cupping his right ear, as though listening. Vera knew Carstairs would never have done this. His hearing was abnormally acute. Her heart started pounding, sluggishly, hurriedly. A hallucination? No. The room was in semi-darkness, but there was enough light to discern objects even to bring the stranger's features into relief. She could make out the sharp thrust of his jaw, the massiveness of his hunched shoulders, and she had an impression of a gaunt face, cruel, avaricious, and cavernous eyes trained relentlessly upon her. Although he made no sound, he appeared to be watching her. With a piercing cry, "Ah!" Vera Dawn sprang up and stumbled across the room towards the door, her shoulders jerking. She did not see the chair until she was almost on top of it. She screamed again, "Ah! Bugger!" Her hands flailing in the air. A sharp wrench of the metal collided with her knees and the chair swiveled, hurling her back against something wet and gooey that slid away impalpably beneath her fingers. With a whimper, she reeled back against the bulkhead and stood stiff as a ramrod, her lips drawn tight. Facing her in the gloom, a strange shape stood, now so twisted and torn it bore little resemblance to a human figure. A raggedness encircled its waist, and there was a yawning dark cavity where its chest should have been. Accentuating the girl's horror was the realization that her clawing fingers had torn away the figure's right arm, ripped and shredded its face. Lowering her gaze, she perceived that she was clasping something dough-like that she could not quite see. In the semi-darkness, she seemed to be clasping a loaf of mouldy bread that was slowly dissolving between her fingers. For an instant, a blackness enmeshed her faculties. When it lifted, she was running down the cold-lighted passageway, screaming for Carstairs. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.